Welcome back, BLI family. It is good to see you and have you on this beautiful, beautiful Saturday. This is episode 18 of your Bible Toolbox. My name is Vidal, and I want to welcome you again. Thank you for allowing me to spend a few minutes with you, emphasizing in this basically second week of October, if I'm not mistaken. The bottom line is that this is Pastor's Appreciation Month, and tomorrow, because it's Saturday, tomorrow, Sunday, is Pastor's Appreciation Sunday or Appreciation Day. I don't know exactly how you're going to phrase that, but all that I want to say is, pastors, thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for the work. Thank you for the perseverance. Thank you for responding to the call. And I get to do that right now, especially because obviously because of the podcast, and we're going to talk about it in just a second. But especially because I am not pastoring a church. So when you're pastoring a church, it's hard for you to speak about pastor appreciation because you're speaking about yourself. So in my case, I am not pastoring a specific church. I do get to work with churches. I get to serve pastors every day, all the time, which is a privilege. And we'll talk about that as well throughout the podcast. But today, I just want to remind us that we're in part two, precisely on Pastors Appreciation Month, which is the month of October. So once again, welcome, 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 welcome. And thank you for being here with us today. If you miss episode 17, meaning last week, I'm going to put the link on the show notes so you can go back and see, because last week we spoke of the qualifications precisely of pastoral ministry. Who qualifies, and what do you do when somebody tragically disqualifies himself from pastoral ministry? Now, what we did last week, and I'm not going to do it again right now because of time, and I got something new to share with you when it comes to the toolbox for pastors. What we did last week is we went through multiple special topics from freebiblecommentary.org, Dr. Bob's special topics, when it comes to the issue of pastors, elders, church polity. What else? The plurality of pastoral leadership, church leadership. I mean, we went through several of them, and we include the links for you to actually access every one of them. The uniqueness of special topics within the website is precisely that we are able to give you, Dr. Bob is able to give you and present to you in-depth study of every one of the topics that I just mentioned to you. So please go back and check on episode 17, which was the first part of the series for the month of October when it comes to Pastors Appreciation Month. But today, I'm extremely excited because, well, I'm a pastor. So I'm excited when the topic of preaching comes into place. And I am a preacher and I love to preach. It is a privilege to preach the Bible. I love preachers. Oh my goodness. I enjoy listening to the exposition of the Word of God. And one of the things that I do enjoy also is to see the tools that Dr. Bob Utley has provided for us when it comes to precisely the task, the gift, the call of preaching. So today, we are talking about sermon preparation. Now, moving forward into next week and the following week, we're going to go into the details of hermeneutics, biblical interpretation, a little bit of exegesis, how to actually work and do the behind the scenes, the time that we spend doing sermon preparation, and how do we come up to with the end product. We'll look into that in the couple next week. But today we're looking at sermon preparation, which also has a little bit of the overlapping in those things. Now, I am not the one teaching on the subject, although I would love to do that on sermon preparation. But what I want to do with you for the remaining of our time is to show you precisely, guide you, and put the cookies on the lower shelf when it comes to Dr. Bob's tools, Dr. Bob's recommendations, Dr. Bob's different, again, resources available to you completely free on the website, on the free Bible commentary website, freebiblecommentary.org website. Now, let me remind you that wherever you're consuming this podcast, whether it's video or audio, I would love for you to help us to get these resources across the globe by simply subscribing, by liking it. And if your generosity expands and even grows today, would you share the content with somebody? We just want to be a blessing to people. But specifically, when you think about the resources from Dr. Bob and his legacy and his tenure as a Bible teacher, as a Bible expositor, as a preacher, and many of you guys that are connected to the BLI family, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We want to make sure that his resources, his experience, and expertise are again are provided to those who are coming behind us in the generations behind us, but specifically because that's part of the task or the call or the vision for Bible Lessons International is precisely to target pastors and church leaders in places, countries where the resources are not as available or as common. Thus, the a reason why when you go and visit freebiblecommentary.org, you're going to find that the Bible commentaries, the exegetical presentation in a written format, are translated into 48 languages. So help us to get all of these resources across the globe by liking, subscribing, sharing, whatever the case may be. I'm fixing to give you a couple of links on the chat for you to access more resources, join the conversation. I mean, there's so many ways that you can do that. One of the ways that I want to remind you, if you have not done it yet, is for you to download the app, the Bible Lessons International app. So go to your app store, to your whatever device you're using, whether it's an iPhone, whether it's an Android, Google Play, whatever you're using, and simply type in the word Bible Lessons International, and you will be able to download the app. And you can choose the campus, it's Spanish or English, and then you choose whatever you want in there. Make sure that you create your profile, and make sure that you actually maybe send the link to somebody that might benefit from Dr. Bob's what is it? Maybe over 50 years of pastoral ministry, Bible exposition, teaching the scriptures across the nations, because literally has been the experience. Now, today, we're talking about sermon preparation. So a couple of things that I want to ask you to do with me, for me, is make sure that you get the links that I'm fixing to put on the screen, because that's where the tools are going to be located for you. But I want to show you today, and I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see and walk with me alongside everything that I'm describing. And I want to take you, and I'm gonna really walk you through the entire process. So I'm gonna begin by simply sharing, in this case, precisely the website, Bible Lessons International website, or freebiblecommentary.org, which is where we are. And I want to make sure that you guys have access to this. So please take a look at the website and see if you guys can simply type in on your, again, phone or laptop, computer, freebiblecommentary.org. That's where we are, freebiblecommentary.org. Because once you get to this website, what I want to show you, I want you to see that once you get to the website, you're going to come into this section of a green window or box where it says video sermons. This is how I'm going to take you to how Dr. Bob presents and gives you the behind the scenes on sermon preparation. So you're going to come to video sermons. So I'm here under Old Testament studies. Come and click video sermons, and you're going to see a list of different places. Some of them are titles. Some of them, I'm talking about the sermons. Most of them have to do with the location, the church where he preached at. And you can even see the year when he preached. Now, the one on the top, that's the one that we're looking at today, which is sermon preparation with Dr. Bob Utley. When you click this link and you go to this section of sermon preparation, now you're going to come into three possibilities, or three links within it. One of this is called Issues for Sermon Preparation, and then Sermon Preparation with Dr. Bob Utley. And then the bottom one is an actual bilingual conference that Dr. Bob and I did. I was, if I'm not mistaken, we were in El Paso. This is years ago. I don't know, maybe 4 years, 5 years ago. And it was a pastor's conference, and I got the privilege to translate that, to do this simultaneous interpretation for him. But anyway, so still, if you want to catch on that one, I'm not going to show you that one right now just because of time. I want to take you into the first one right here, when it comes to issues for sermon preparation, this is the one that I want to show you, and this is the one that I love for you to get. Now, before I show you the actual video, and I'm not going to play the video for you. You have to do that. But I'm going to show you the video. One of the things that I want to remind you is um, I'm fixing to give you also the link for you to join the weekly newsletter. And the weekly newsletter that we send out with Dr. Bob's, again, teaching series. We just finished the series on the reliability and trustworthiness of the Bible. It was a 5-week series that we just did. We just finished this on Monday of this week that is ending. And it was 5 sermons. And then we also provided for you on the newsletter, we provided the notes. Where is Dr. Bob getting his information? And we try to give you as much as we can on the details. So for us, we have to go back, and I said for us, but it's really Josue, the one doing this. You got to go back and actually watch the videos and pull out all these notes that are coming from the website. And again, we package that on an email and then send it your way. Now, we're fixing to start a brand new series. And if I'm not mistaken, is going to be also a 5-week series. I might be wrong. Let me just double check in here. But I think it's a 5-week series on Christology, the doctrine of the person and the work of Jesus. Now, I've heard these lectures before multiple times. I recently went back and listened to all of them again because I just finished teaching a class on Christology. I did a class with Logos Seminary, Theological Seminary in Pakistan, and it was a delight to join with pastors from all over the place and speak on the issue of Christology. Now, all that to say, what we're going to be sending to you is not my teaching, it's going to be Dr. Bob's teaching. And in this case, it's going to be a series of videos or lectures that he did years ago at First Baptist in San Antonio. And again, we're going to be sending you video, we're going to be sending you audio, and we're going to be sending you the notes. You want to get the notes, the exegetical notes of the presentation. So please, 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 please take the time. And I'm fixing to do that right now because otherwise I know myself and I'm going to forget this. So I'm fixing to put on the screen, not on the screen, on the chat, the links for you to join everything that I just told you, but specifically for you to get the newsletter. So please, please take advantage of these links. And once again, if you would like to share them with anybody, somebody that you might be thinking that you may know that they could benefit from these resources, here they are. I just sent it to you on the live stream chat. So I hope you guys can get it. I love for you guys to take them with you and make sure that you guys share those links with you. Bottom line, subscribe to the newsletter. I will also share the whole newsletter thing, the 5-week series on the app. So pick your way of communication and resources, and let's stay connected and make sure that you get these resources on your inbox because that's exactly what we want you to do, okay? All right, let's come back to sermon preparation. Let's talk about it for a quick second because this is huge. This is huge for us when we speak of sermon preparation. So what you see on the screen again is basically Dr. Bob's presentation. And by the way, when it comes to sermon preparation, there are more conferences in expositions that Dr. Bob has done in the past. They are not on this website. So on this part of the website, I'll get into you also via the newsletter, via email. So please subscribe. Now, I'm going to click on the first one, which is this one right here on the basics on sermon preparation. And I'm just going to click on it. And again, I am not going to be able to do the entire presentation. This is a YouTube video, obviously. So I'm just going to let it play because I want you to see Dr. Bob, get this little commercial out of the way. And then I'm going to show you Dr. Bob actually doing the exposition. So this is Dr. Bob teaching. This is over an hour of the teaching. So he goes into the details and, when it comes to the actual teaching of how to prepare sermons. He is speaking to pastors and church leaders, and he's speaking to seminary students. For what I understand, I was not present at this conference. I have no idea why I didn't go or where. Anyways, I don't have the details. Some of these videos are a little in the past, and we probably were in different locations. The bottom line is that I want to make sure that you guys access this resource, and it goes straight into your inbox. So please, once again, make sure that you sign up for that newsletter. And this is why, because not only you're going to get this video and you're going to go through the actual teaching, but then also what I want to do, I want to show you where and how to access the notes. Yes, sir. Because Dr. Bob is, as you know, some of you know him, he's going to walk you through his outline, in this case on sermon preparation. And I'm assuming that some of us might want to get access to this note. So what I'm going to do again, I'm going to take you back into the website, and that's exactly where we are. So I'm going to show you how to get the notes. Okay, to get the notes, you're going to come now into these red boxes or red windows, where you're going to come into the biblical interpretation seminar. That's what you're looking at. Why? Well, because in the biblical interpretation seminar, he includes this section on sermon preparation. It's not only hermeneutics or how to interpret the Bible, but it's also on how to put that interpretation into the final product, which in this case is the creation, the building up of the sermon. So in this case, I'm going to show you that when you click on biblical interpretation seminar, this is what you get. You get this kind of a four principle description of the philosophy and the background and the understanding of hermeneutics. But then throughout the years, by the way, let me remind you, this seminar is Dr. Bob's doctoral dissertation. That's what it is. This is what he breathes. This is what he believes. This is what he has invested his life. I mean, literally his life working towards this, teaching this for many of us as seminary students or college students of Dr. Bob. This is where we got our aha moment in ministry. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. The bottom line is that what he has done is that he's taken his original, again, dissertation and then repackage it in ways and shapes and manners throughout his just tenure and pilgrimage as a Bible expositor, where he has presented this material in different contexts and scenarios. And I'll just give you an example, because the latest of it, which is the last one that you see here, is an extended version of it. And if you have the time to actually place yourself under his teaching, and this is this is the most recent one. He did this via Zoom, and he did that on Thursday nights, and it was a long process because he was teaching 2 hours every week for multiple weeks, and he covered the entire process of hermeneutics and biblical interpretation. Now, we're not going to do that for you, because all that I'm going to do right now, I'm going to take you to, and there are two different ways to access the actual notes. You have what is called the written textbook. And if you see it here at the bottom, written textbook. Now, the written textbook is the entire dissertation. But if you want to access the lecture notebook, which is in this case on Roman numeral 3, and then you get the written lecture, if you notice, you're going to see condensed version of the teaching videos. In this case, I'm going to go to the lecture notebook. And once you get there, you're going to see the table of contents. On the table of contents, what you want to do, you want to come all the way down to practical procedures, which is going to be Roman numeral 9. And this is the practical procedures. In the practical procedures, this right here is basically the notes of the teaching video on sermon preparation. That's all that I'm trying to say to you. I know it took me a while to get there, but that's how you get there. So can I do it again? I'm going to walk you through this once again. So hopefully this is making sense. I'm here on the website. I'm coming to the biblical interpretation seminar. I click on that. I'm choosing number 3, Roman numeral 3. When it comes to the written lecture notebook, I'm clicking on this one. And then I'm coming down on the table of contents for the entire, this is the entire dissertation of the entire lecture notebook for that he will give to students if he was teaching this again. And we're coming to Roman numeral 9, the practical procedures. Preliminary steps: take good notes on your reading observations, proposed order for use of research tools, and then final exhortation. So I'm going to click on that, because this is actually what he's teaching on that sermon preparation video. And he's going to walk you through now the preliminary steps, and he goes from the spiritual aspect of sermon preparation. Let me open it up more. The logical process of analyzing an ancient literary document. Now he's going to get into a little bit of the hermeneutics and again, the process of biblical interpretation. And then he's going to move into take notes of your reading observations. Now, he's asking us to read analytically, and he's going to actually give us a sample, okay, from pages 51 through 53. Now, the implication is that this is a condensed version. If you were to go to the actual uh, uh, entire document or entire dissertation, you're going to get this into the details. He's going to give it to you in a condensed version from the video and from this notes. And in this case, I want you to just pay close attention to this. This is important. I'm hoping this is helpful. I hope in celebrating Pastors Appreciation Month, this is a tool that you can also utilize as you might refresh uh, your methodology on how to interpret the Bible, whatever the case may be. Maybe you're thinking about your pastor. You may not be a pastor, but you're thinking of your pastor, and you might want to share this with someone that is going through seminary, whatever the case may be. If you're a Sunday school teacher, I promise you this is helpful to you. You don't have to be a pastor to really benefit from this tool. So in this case, what he's asking us to do on this Roman numeral 2, on take good notes of your reading observation, man, this is where it gets a little tough, a little hard to build those disciplines. And the disciplines is to do what is called reading cycles. So he's going to ask us to do, as you see, a first reading cycle, a second reading cycle, and then he's going to come down and do a third reading cycle. And we're going to finish with a fourth reading cycle. You need to watch the video to see the explanation, what he means by those reading cycles. All that I'm trying to tell you is that this is simply a methodology, a way of actually building habits, personal habits on how to avoid our most natural tendency to simply come into the Bible with the very tragic mindset of individualism and autonomy and make assumptions that are not fair nor biblical to the original author's intent. So in this case, what you're seeing on the screen, I will personally describe as guardrails. This is protection from self as you approach the Bible. So in this case, is building again habits, building systems, building methodologies. Which, by the way, everybody has those habits already in place. You may not know nor recognize, and you may not be able to articulate what your habits are. But maybe one of the habits is not knowing where the habits are on how you interpret the Bible. But in this case, we're simply asking you to consider a possibility on the process, on the methodology, and the beauty of hermeneutics, or in this case, biblical interpretation, which are synonyms when it comes to the definition of the word. So in this case, consider those reading cycles. And again, he's going to explain that in detail in the video. And then he moves into, after the 4 reading cycles, he's going to come and speak on the proposed order for the use of research tools after you have finished the 4 reading cycles. Again, one of the reasons is because what you don't want to do, whether it's ChatGPT or any biblical commentary or any podcast or any other preacher that you might prefer or listen to, you don't want to begin with them. See, the main point that we emphasize over and over through this methodology, and Dr. Bob just champions this understanding because he's the one that corner. The understanding is that is basically the Bible, the Holy Spirit, and the reader, which is you, that is necessary to understand the Bible. Thus, the motto of the ministry, you can understand the Bible. Meaning that when you get to the place of doing the research and paying the price of utilizing the tools and how to use the tools, again, biblical commentaries, any type of uh, tools that you can potentially use to create, to affirm, to shape, to simply analyze what you have come up with in your understanding of the Bible, they have a place. And he's going to give you the list. Look at the list from Bible introductions, articles in Bible encyclopedias, handbooks, dictionaries, introductions of biblical commentaries. I mean, study Bibles. I mean, all of this, they're necessary, but they come after you do the 4th reading cycles. And then he's going to give you final exhortations, which speaks of how we must remember that we receive truth in increments. We do not take shortcuts in your study. Do not expect instantaneous results. Do not become discouraged. Yes, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It takes time to do this. Stay with the program. Expect tension and disagreement in interpretation. Read the Bible analytically. Use research tools critically. Make a commitment of at least 30 minutes every day. Find a quiet place. Set aside a specific time. Choose a short New Testament book first versus the book of Acts or, Hebrews. Those are pretty massive books. Assemble some research tools. Get paper and pencil. You got to pray and then jump on the task. Again, these are simply recommendations that we are placing before you that you can potentially utilize on your task and your delight of studying the Bible. Once again, every one of these links are going to be on the chat for you to access, for you to check it out, for you to potentially refresh your seminary training. If you have been a pastor, you were privileged to go to formal education, theological education, this is the time for you to maybe come back and refresh. Bottom line is that if you have a question, you have a comment, please put it on the chat. And I can assure you one thing: Dr. Ball will read those questions and those comments. He will appreciate any encouragement. But the bottom line, he will love to dialogue with you, whether it's through the chat, whether it's through via email, whatever the case may be. He receives emails constantly with the specific questions, whether it's ministerial questions, pastoral questions, theological questions, biblical interpretation questions, you name it. The conversation is ongoing, and we consider this a privilege if we can be of any assist, if we can be of any encouragement to you. But the bottom line is we want to provide some of these tools that are available to you in the local church. Happy and blessed Pastor's Appreciation Weekend. It is tomorrow. So as you gather in your churches tomorrow, please remember that. Congratulate, appreciate, let your pastor, and now hear me say this very closely, because I'm a veteran of 28 years of marriage. I've been blessed to be married to Adeli for 28 years. And I can assure you, as a pastor, without my bride. Now, if you're single, that's a different conversation, which is perfectly fine. But the majority of us probably are married. I can assure you, your spouse is going to make it or break it for you when it comes to ministry. Not because of just the health of the relationship, although it's important, but I believe it's just the qualifications that the Bible describes on who is qualified or able to lead and to govern and to shepherd the flock of Jesus Christ. So in this case, when I remind you of Pastor's Appreciation Day, Pastor's Appreciation Sunday, which is tomorrow, Pastor's Appreciation Month, which is October, I'm also including that you must also recognize the spouses. Oh, that's all that I'm saying. Family, the Bible presents life and ministry holistically. It's integrated, it's organic. There's no distinction between family life and ministry life. There is no distinction between personal life and public life. There is only life. It must be under the leadership, under the guidance of the God who has called us to shepherd the flock. So, please, as you think about spouses tomorrow, and you recognize pastors, would you also recognize the family? And just again, thank you, Jesus, for making ministry. I'm speaking of us spouses, my spouse. I'm speaking how Areli makes ministry way more easy than anything else that I have ever experienced in my life, because of the understanding, because of the passion for Jesus and the passion for the local church. The links are going to be available to you. Thank you for joining the conversation. This is episode 18. Looking forward to next week as we move into other aspects of celebrating pastors throughout the month of October. Have a wonderful and blessed Sunday as you gather for worship with the people of God. May the Lord use you as you preach the scriptures tomorrow. God bless you.